I don't think you guys want to hear me. I think the panel might not like me very much.
I think that
That
if it comes from a genuine place, like if you know the
oh,
history,
it's definitely genuine. It's definitely
right,
genuine.
right, right, right. But
I
knowledge
would never
wouldn't be
troll.
genuine.
I would never troll you, and I would never say something just to make
Sure.
people offended. Although people think I do say that, it's not true. I don't do. I don't say things just to offend people on purpose.
Oh, sure.
But I was invited to the.
I think you program us to look for it when you premise it. I don't think they want to hear what I'm gonna say. And
Well, the
everybody's
thing
like,
is, I'm
"Oh
scared
shit!"
because I'm scared,
No,
McPherson. I'm
speak your
scared.
mind.
I'm
Everybody's
scared
like, when you get
because
ready to say, when you say that, everybody get like, you know what I'm
I
saying?
know, I know, I know. You're right. You're right. I
Just
shouldn't have
let it
said it.
out. You know what I mean?
I'm just scared. I'm scared because as soon as because I know what I'm gonna get is you're not black. You can't say that. But I'm here, and and as an outsider looking in, I'll preface it with that. As an outsider looking in, I understand I'm not in but Jr. has exposed me to a lot. Like since me and Jr. have known each other, he has shared with me so much black culture. He shared with me um, Jefferson show, Cosby, and R. Kelly,
What again?
and and what else did you give me, Jr.? You gave me a few things, but he gave
That's
me
what you
some
gave
things
him, bro.
so I wouldn't be so
Wait,
ignorant.
what R. Kelly y'all watch?
Yeah, you R.
He
Kelly.
sent
Out
me
of all the niggas, you could.
but he sent me things so I wouldn't be so ignorant. He's like, "Don't be so ignorant." So but Jr. has helped me a lot. And anyway, so what I wanted to say was, um, me with my relationship with you, fine people, and then hearing what other cultures say, because I'll tell you guys what other cultures say, and I'll be honest with you because who's gonna stop me right now from saying it? I'll be honest with you guys. The majority of other cultures that I talk to say that the black peoples are just weak, whiny, um, lazy, uh, criminal mind. Uh, as for the women are concerned, loose, easy, and that's just what a lot of them say. But the reason that they say that is because what they see is something that they don't know the history of the black community. Of course, they don't know the history, so they see it as people coming here and just seeing, oh, you guys have been here for many generations and you still haven't made something more of yourselves. When we come here and in 2 generations we dominate you guys, then we're the ones who are like your bosses. But I understand why. I do understand why, and I understand that because a lot of immigrant families, when they come, it's easier for them to get certain loans and so on and so forth. So I do understand that. I understand that there's history behind that as well. But what I'm saying is, after JR had showed me all the history and all, and showed me a lot of the shows and so on, and then I studied for myself the history. I saw that black people were so strong and so they made it. I mean, out of slavery, they rose from the ashes and they did so much. And then you see what we have today. And what we have today is nothing compared to what I saw in the past generations of black people. I think that's what Casey is talking about. And that's why when she was talking, I was nodding along, but I don't know if I should. But coming from my perspective as an outsider, when we see that black people constantly today, not even back then, but today constantly say slavery, 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 and then they look for the root to go all the way back to slavery, it's almost as if I want to ask you guys, what other community uses trauma that happened to their community from way back when? I mean, we have cultures today that have had traumatic events happen to them way more, um, what is it called, closer and closer to the present than slavery 400 years ago. Here we have, or is it 400 years ago? How long was it? No, that was 200 years ago, and
It,
then it lasted 400 years, right? Lasted 400 years, stopped 200 years, about 200 years ago, or 100 something. But yeah, so when you see that, we see the Jewish people, of course, they have their thing that happened to them. Then you see the Slavic people, who the word slave comes from Slavic people, and you don't see them saying like we have this history of slavery, even though the word slave comes from the Slavic people. But you don't see them today saying that their culture has this slavery ingrained genetic code because they were slaves in the past. You don't see the Romans saying the same thing. You don't see any other group of people saying that except Black people. So this is the reason why we see it as weakness, but it could be ignorance as well.
Ameera, the problem is that's false. There's several places in this world where there's conflicts that's been going on for hundreds of years that they ain't letting up on. The difference is that our conflict is often overlooked. We still have a conflict with this country. Just because it's not as violent as you see what happens in the Middle East or you see what happens in other countries, doesn't mean that we should be able to, that we shouldn't speak on it.
Then leave. I mean, if the conflict is so bad, then leave. You can go to Liberia. Liberia is the
that's
same
the thing, though. That same argument can be made about any conflict overseas. Why don't you just leave it?
No.
And they don't. Hold on, wait. They don't leave. They fight for whatever they created. They fight for whatever they built. They fight for whatever they feel they are owed. They don't sit there and try to run away. And the thing is that I find it extremely disrespectful when people run from the conflicts in their country and then they run over here and then look at us while we're dealing with the conflicts in our country. There's not speak to, they see us dealing with the conflicts in our country, then say, oh, what is wrong with y'all?
I don't see it as really dealing with it. I see it more like whining, complaining, victimizing. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm saying what I see.
Let me say something real fast. Okay, so slavery, so it's one of two things, because I kind of agree with what you're saying a little bit. So slavery, for one, yes, happened 400 years ago, but Jim Crow happened just a few years ago. So it wasn't just over with slavery. It did continue. It just wasn't called slavery. Okay, so let's just make that very clear. But I get what you're saying. We have to take some responsibility for the way the world looks at us, okay? Because one, we call ourselves hoes. We act like it. We're on TV. We have our cameras out acting like hoes sometimes, okay? The things that we say is some hoish stuff that comes out of our mouths at times. When everything that she's saying, how they look at us, is because we've done it to ourselves. Listen to our music. That's us talking about us. You understand? That's not another race talking about us. That's us saying it. And then we get mad when they see us that way when we're saying it about us.
How long has it been? I got a serious question.
So what I'm saying to you, and let me just say this. I'm not taking away what you're saying, Sweeney, because I think that you're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is, how do we expect them to be serious about us when we're not serious about us? Right? How do you expect us to move mountains and do all the great things that we are made to do when if people just looking at us as hoes and lazy because we're putting that out about ourselves?
So now, I think the funny thing is that one, Black people have a wide variety of music in this country. We've been the birth child of a lot of different stuff, a lot of different music, and they were saying the same shit then anyway. Regardless of because how do you come over here and you don't look at a group of people and see their whole selves? You say, oh, well, all I saw was this.
So you have to remember.
Hold on, wait.
Okay.
Wait.
Sorry.
But if we said the same thing about them, they would say, why don't you get to know our culture first? Why don't you get to know? Why don't you reach back and learn about us first before you say anything about us?
Can you explain? Are you speaking to me?
No. I'm speaking about in general. When we have these, I've had conversations where I've seen conversations happen where where Americans, specifically Black Americans, will speak about other cultures and the problems that they have in their culture, and the first thing they say, or how we feel about them in this country, and they say, hey, look, you need to do a deeper dive into our people before you make those type of comments. So it would behoove me that before anybody comes over here and makes any conversation about who we are as a people, you got to at least know us. Now, granted, you don't have to, but if you're going to judge us, you better at least know us, because I don't wait. I don't like when people throw stones.
You're going to let me speak too.
I know. I don't like when people throw stones and then hide their hands.
I'm not hiding anything.
I'm not saying you, Ameera. I'm not.
Well, you're talking to me
you.
indirectly. It seems
I'm
like
not
you're
even
speaking
talking to you directly. I'm not talking to you
it
indirectly. If
seems
I felt a way about you, I would say that. It's not about you.
She's just saying, he's just
because
saying
you said
people who
I'm
think
just
the way
saying
you
in
think.
no,
general.
you said people who say something, but my opinion was asked because I'm here. So I expressed my opinion and I gave you what people will say, and I said I don't agree with that. But you notice the moment that I say something that you disagree with, you're telling me you have no right to say anything. Because you disagree. But if I say something you agree with,
Hold on, one at a time, y'all. One at a time. One at a time. One at a
Take
time.
yourself out of it. I'm not talking to you.
I don't think he's talking to you, Ameera, but we appreciate you being honest about it because I think that that's what they are thinking, and I'm glad that you're on this panel telling us what people are thinking. Don't sugarcoat it. Let us know what they're thinking so we can have a conversation about it. Because this stuff needs to change. We have to be solution based. I see it too. I say stuff about us too because I see it. I call people floozies all the time. I'm like, why y'all acting like this? You know, I know better because I know Black people. I know my family doesn't roll like that. I know all the people I'm with don't roll like that. But I can get why if I'm in another country, I've never met an African-American before in my life. All I have is music, which is a universal language. And you're sitting here calling yourself a hoe. You're sitting here calling yourself a bitch. You're sitting here calling yourself whatever it is. What else am I going to say? You're saying about yourself. I'm only going to think what you think about yourself. I mean,
it's the commercial image that's projected to the world. It's our commercial image.
Yeah,
Right.
I was just going to say that.
Whether it's a caricature or not, it's a commercial image that's projected to the world. It's not all of us. We know it's not all of us, but it's what's projected to the entire world. Period.